This is One Ping Only, created by Tricon Games. Our team consists of 6 people, those being Scott Lefetra as our systems engineer, Daniel McKernan being our level designer and game designer, myself, Kaylin Farmer, being a game designer and a 3D, 2D artist, Bradley Jardine as our audio engineer, Kit Ainsley as our concept artist, and Derek Ho being our 3D modeler and animator.
The first thing most people notice about a game is the shader, and the shader makes up all of the visual elements of our game and encompasses the whole visual theme. So the way the shader works is for each pixel, it measures the distance between the pixel and whatever sonar source it's measuring, and then it will take that distance, put it into a waveform function to get the height of the wave or the amplitude at that position and time, and then it does that for each of the waves, takes them all, adds them all to each other, and that's how you get the final output color of the pixel. And for the grid lines, what it does is it takes the position of the pixel and then adds a bit to it if it's on a certain world line. So the way it gets that is divides the number by some amount and then modulos it to get whether it's on a grid line or not. And then for certain objects, such as the sub that we want to make glow, we just have a minimum color for the pixel, so it never becomes completely black.
Our level design overall consists of our submarine maneuvering through an underwater city that has broken buildings, various debris, and restricting organic tunnels. One of the level design tactics we used was the illusion of choice. This makes the level design more interesting for the player and also adds an exploration element to our game, which it needed.
From the very beginning, our team knew that player interaction was going to be a problem in our game. Our first and longest living solution was to have towers that the players would search for and briefly interact with. This, however, turned out to be a rather amusing problem, as no matter how big we made the on-screen text, no matter how massive we made the towers, the players simply ignored them. Reluctantly, we decided to revamp the player interaction system 3 days before the Excellence Awards. As you can see, it turned out quite well. We have objects of interest that glow and draw the player's attention, and physical barriers to prevent the player from continuing through the level without shooting our very cool torpedoes, complete with launch bubbles and audio. On the subject of audio, I'd like to personally thank Bradley Jardine for his involvement in One Ping Only. His audio engineering skills have breathed new life into our game that has planted it firmly in our portfolios as not only a solid base to climb from, but our first published game as Tricon Games.
Right, so here we have the beginning of the level. This is where the player encounters the first narrative object. Narrative objects are implemented over here as I have a script that does all the narrative trigger stuff, and then there's a bunch of stuff down here. This is all the actual physical models. We had a list of stuff so we can change the material, but we took that out. It's no longer a feature. There's lots of things here that once were features but are no longer. For example, in the go in here, we have the pause menu, or have the radar menu. That was once a feature, but disabled it. You can actually turn it on in the developer settings for developer build, but we disabled the radar because our game used to be very open and sort of just kind of find your way to the end of a rat's mazy, but we ended up making it more linear so we could focus more on the story component and so that people won't get turned around and lost completely, which happened a lot. Also means that people don't ignore the narrative elements as much. Let's see, anything else? So let me just get an overview of the level here. So to give you an idea of how this level has changed over time, this whole area used to be Unity's not like me. Yeah, I guess we can. I can actually show you the old level here. So in our folder hierarchy, don't judge us for folder hierarchy. We can actually see the original city, which is here. Original city. Sorry, my assistant is informing me that I in fact have the wrong original city. Let's not save those changes that we just made. Oh, there we go. Look, there's a few more buildings.